If you're autistic or neurodivergent, most research shows that people's happiness declines in their 30s and 40s. However, I don't think that applies to you. I think your brain's uniquely built to be happier. Let me explain why. Over time, neurotypical brains stop noticing the familiar. It just gets ranked as unimportant. It habituates everything to get efficient. So sooner or later, that walk to work goes from being extraordinary to being ordinary to being just background noise. And that's partially what causes that decline in happiness. Not the encroaching responsibilities and mortgages and such, which obviously are part of it, but the shrinking of one's world as we stop noticing ourselves because we're too focused on, the big, terrible tasks. Now, here's what's different about yours. The ADHD brain has lower baseline dopamine availability. It means it's constantly, neurologically, seeking novelty to trigger that dopamine hit that other brains get more easily. Researchers called this an interest-based nervous system. Rated not by deadlines, but by what's genuinely fascinating right now. For autistic brains, the mechanism is slightly different, but arrives at a similar place. Not novelty for its own sake, but depth of attention to what's already there. The patterns, the colours, the qualities, the sounds, the precise elements that make up a sensory moment. I call this the significance of insignificance. Every day I take a 30-minute walk to the mall. I could take the bus and it would take about 3 minutes, but I'd miss out on the journey. And I enjoy walking through the canopies of trees. I love walking beside the river. The sensory experience of it was beautiful. I still remember the sensory experience of walking to school as a child through a tree canopy-lined street and seeing the light speckle through the leaves, the sound of the wind whooshing. My daughter takes a very similar walk to school every day now. I'm sure it'll leave a sensory input in her too. And not because I have a good memory, but because my brain was genuinely neurologically present during the entire thing. It was a big series of dopamine events for me. If I had a neurotypical brain, I'd have habituated it away within a fortnight and forgotten most of it. And this same mechanism, the inability to let the interesting become mundane, shows up everywhere in neurodivergent life. Kate Reed, the woman behind what many people consider to be the finest croissant in the world, came from Formula One engineering, brought their ADHD and rich precision into baking, controlling everything from the temperature in the room to a fraction of a degree, to the parts in the water per million, to the fat content in the butter. Not because the recipe told her to, but because her brain wouldn't allow her to not notice those variables. It marked them as important when everyone else considered them background noise. The neurotypical brain is built to thrive during the middle of the happiness curve. It's efficient, it's habituated, it's productive, if a little flat. The neurodivergent brain keeps looking for dopamine and light in the leaves, though, and asking questions no one else would bother asking. So the happiness curve may partially be a story of what happens when your brain gets too efficient to notice its own life anymore. But with a neurodivergent brain, amidst all the chaos, it never learns to do that, though. I'm Mike Baggs, your friendly neighborhood neuroscientist, and this is why our brains want to find the extraordinary in the ordinary. What was the last thing you found in the ordinary that completely blew you away? Let me know in the comments.